Less than 36 hours until we wrap up here in Oxnard, California for the Dallas Cowboys 2024 training camp. And one last ride right here on Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford. Nicole, Hutchison, Mickey Spagnola. It's been 4.5 long weeks, but the Cowboys have had a lot of excitement. We brought home a win with the Raiders on Saturday. Now they've turned their heads towards the Chargers game on Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff. Check your local listings, by the way. But when you talk about they wrapped up practice today, Asim Richard's getting work at guard. You saw some of that against the Raiders. How much are you liking that position switch?
Well, he got some experience at guard last year. He was a tackle in college at North Carolina. The Cowboys kind of moved him inside. They felt like the guard position needed some help. Well, when he got here this year, he ended up getting some snaps at tackle also. And actually got some first-team snaps at tackle. The Cowboys are looking for a swing tackle. So if you can find a guy that can play tackle and guard, he's very valuable on your 48-man game day roster. So they're trying to train him for both positions because they need backups at both spots.
Who are you looking for to be that backup left tackle now?
Well, that hasn't been decided yet, and he may not be on this roster at this point. You know, they've used Asim Richards outside in the game against the Raiders. Josh Ball got some snaps there. Mike McCarthy says that Matt Willetsko can play either side, but just watching practices and the preseason games, he's mostly been playing right tackle. So I don't know how much they trust him at left tackle, but with Chuma Adoga going on injured reserve, Earl Bostic was scheduled for surgery today. He was a guy they tried there. So that backup swing tackle might not be on the roster just yet.
When you talk about Asim Richards, though, playing tackle, it feels like he has the footwork to play tackle, but he also has the strength to play inside. But it seems like when he was playing tackle, he was thinking about a little bit too much. Do you think that that was the case?
Yeah, a little bit. He needed to use his strength more out there. Now, his footwork was okay, but he just needed to be more assertive. I think at guard, you don't have to think as much. Everything's right there in front of you. You kind of know who you have to block. But at tackle, you got to be quick, but you also have to be assertive. And I think that's one of the things they're looking for him. But again, it's hard to be a young player being a swing tackle because you don't get that many reps in practice and even when the season starts. So you got to be ready to go. Without a bunch of reps, and that's hard for a guy with limited experience.
And also talking about the development, it kind of slows down the development when you're switching positions like that. You had it in Tyler Smith as well. But while the Cowboys continue to find a role for Asim Richards, they for sure know their role in their newly acquired defensive tackle, Jordan Phillips. We'll see or hear about that coming up next.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, is brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. This segment is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
The Cowboys wasted no time beefing up their defensive line, adding former New York Giants defensive tackle Jordan Phillips, and he wasted no time suiting up in Cowboys blue and white, making his debut against the Raiders on Saturday. And he spoke to the media about his transition and his goals for the 2024 season.
Well, I'm going to hopefully help us finish and get to where we want to be. You know, we were a great in-season team, and just coming in with some leadership and I don't know, like I said, I've been around a long time, so just helping us get over that hump and to the, I don't want to make predictions or anything, so just helping us get over the hump.
Before you came here, what were your impressions of Mozzie?
Thank you, Jordan.
I didn't know Mozzie very much, but I went back and I watched some highlights, just all the guys, just to see who I was working with and what I have to work with. And he can play, you know, like people have a lot of expectations on these young guys coming in, but you got to let kids develop, you know. At the end of the day, it was his second year, right? You know, he's still a kid. This is a grown man's game, and you got to let kids develop and come in. You know, that you might have been great in college, but this is a whole different game. So just helping him learn the process, getting a routine, and just keep helping him bring that dog out of him is what I'm here to do.
Who helped you? Like that role? Is that something you enjoy, being that guy who helps?
I mean, yeah, but I still want to. You know, I still got a lot to give and a lot to improve on myself. So, but I want to help the young guys on the way.
I'm sorry if you were asked before about Osa. What do you see from Osa Odigizua?
Osa, he's a young guy. I believe it's his fourth year.
Yes.
It's his 4th year, and you know, that's the kind of the time where you start hitting your stride, and hopefully he can have a breakout year, and hopefully I can give him some tips and tricks to get some more sacks, get some more TFLs, and but from what I've seen, he looks like a great 3-tech.
Who helped you when you were? Can you talk about being a mentor to young guys?
Yeah.
Who helped you when you were coming up?
So I got drafted, and that's when Ndamukong Suh signed his big deal in Miami. So Sue was there. Who else? I had Kyle Williams in Buffalo. So I've been around a lot of greats, and you know, you just share the knowledge and share the wealth, and somehow, some way, that's going to give back to me as well. So you know, it's a selfish way to give back, but also help, you know, and help the team win.
What's the biggest thing going from college to pro at the defensive tackle position that makes it a tougher transition than maybe some other positions?
I mean, it's grown men, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not just going out and catching balls. I'm not saying that's not hard, but it's a growth to that. You got to realize that just being strong just isn't good enough. You got to be smart. You got to be good with your hands. You got to be aggressive. You got to just pay attention to what is in front of you, and that's the biggest thing. Like, you can't worry about making plays, and I kind of want to bring that into our D-line room. It's just, it doesn't matter how many tackles you make, it doesn't matter how many sacks you get, as long as the defense is great. I've been a part of 5 or 7 top 5 defenses, and nobody cares about stats. And as soon as we get there and stuff like that, that's when this defense is going to become great.
The 1s and the 3s do have to be the most unselfish guys on the team. Had you always been that way, or is that something you just kind of had to, that you didn't really appreciate until you got further into it?
No, I don't care about stats. You know, like, people look at stats and think you have a great game, but as long as you're, for me, as long as my linebacker is making All-Pro, Pro Bowler, I did my job for the year. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do that by themselves. I kept people off of them, and on the way there, I'm getting some sacks and tackles. You know.
This segment was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
As roster cut down day approaches, some guys still need to make an impression against the Chargers on Saturday. If you got Eric Scott, Viliami Fehoko, and Jalen Cropper, who are you picking?
All 3. They need to step up. I think that there's limited spots available on this 53-man roster right now, and it's always a juggling act. But I think the 3 of those, Jalen Cropper has showed up in practice, and then he had a little skeptical preseason game. Fehoko, they changed positions on him. He was inside last year. They're trying him at defensive end. And Eric Scott has his moments, but he's got to be more consistent. So the last practice in pads on Wednesday and that preseason game going to be very important for those 3 guys to really step up and play.
And Eric Scott actually had the interception versus the Rams. You talk about Jalen Cropper had a drop and a fumble against the Raiders, and Viliami Fehoko played 37 defensive snaps versus the Raiders. Still want to see a little bit more from him, but Eric Scott has the potential to make possibly the roster, though, do you think?
Well, he's a guy that they traded up to get him in the first pick in the 6th round, so they may hang on to him longer, but there's some competition there.
All right, well, that'll do it here on Inside Cowboys Training Camp. Kickoff is at 3 p.m. against the Chargers. We'll see you all at AT&T Stadium.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, was brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.